That innocent jar of mayonnaise sitting in your refrigerator right now could be slowly poisoning your body with every sandwich you make. Most people think mayonnaise is just eggs, oil, and vinegar. Simple ingredients, harmless condiment, right? Wrong. The truth is far more disturbing than you could imagine. The billion-dollar food industry has turned this classic kitchen staple into a chemical cocktail of inflammatory oils, synthetic preservatives, and hidden sugars linked to chronic diseases affecting millions. And the worst part? They're hiding it all behind clever marketing and nostalgic branding. Today, we're exposing 5 popular mayonnaise brands deceiving consumers with toxic ingredients. These aren't small, unknown brands. These are household names your family has trusted for generations. Number 1. Hellmann's Real Mayonnaise, the classic deception. For over a century, Hellmann's has been the gold standard of mayonnaise in American households. That iconic blue ribbon logo represents tradition, quality, and trust. Your grandparents bought it. Your parents bought it. And chances are you've been buying it too without questioning what's actually in that jar. But here's what Hellmann's doesn't want you to know. That real mayonnaise they're so proud of? It's built on a foundation of genetically modified soybean oil. This isn't the same product that made Hellmann's famous decades ago. The formula has been quietly reformulated over the years, swapping quality ingredients for cheaper industrial alternatives that maximize profit margins while destroying your health. Let's talk about soybean oil because this is where things get truly alarming. Over 93% of soybeans grown in the United States are genetically modified crops. These GMO soybeans are then processed using a chemical solvent called hexane, which is literally derived from gasoline refining. Yes, you read that right. The same chemical used in industrial cleaning agents, paint thinners, and rubber cement is used to extract the oil that ends up in your mayonnaise. The hexane extraction process involves bathing the crushed soybeans in this petroleum-based solvent to dissolve the oil. While most hexane is supposedly removed during processing, trace amounts remain in the final product. And even though these levels are considered safe by regulatory standards, you're still consuming residues of an industrial chemical with every spoonful. But the problems with soybean oil go far deeper than hexane contamination. This oil is extraordinarily high in omega-6 fatty acids, which sounds harmless until you understand what that actually means for your body. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids should be around 2:1 or 1:1 for optimal health. But thanks to seed oils and processed foods, most Americans are consuming ratios of 10:1 or 20:1. This massive imbalance triggers chronic low-grade inflammation throughout your entire body. And chronic inflammation isn't just uncomfortable. It's the underlying factor in nearly every major disease killing people today. Heart disease, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, autoimmune disorders, and metabolic syndrome. Every time you spread Hellmann's on your sandwich, you're fueling this inflammatory fire. And then there's calcium disodium edita. This synthetic compound is added to prevent discoloration and extend shelf life. The food industry will tell you it's perfectly safe in small amounts. Technically, that's true, but what they won't tell you is that EDTA is also used in cleaning products, cosmetics, and industrial applications. It works by binding to metal ions, which prevents your mayo from turning an unappetizing color during months of storage. Consumers have noticed something else. The texture and taste have changed. What used to feel rich and creamy now has an oily, slightly synthetic quality. That's the result of industrial-scale production, prioritizing consistency and shelf stability over fresh, homemade quality. Number 2. Kraft Real Mayonnaise. Family favorite or chemical factory? Kraft is another American icon gracing picnic tables and kitchen counters for generations. The blue label is as recognizable as apple pie. It's the mayo your mom used in potato salad, the spread at summer barbecues, the creamy base for countless childhood memories. But nostalgia is a powerful marketing tool, and Kraft has been using it to mask a formula that's anything but family-friendly. Just like Hellmann's, Kraft relies heavily on cheap, highly processed soybean oil, extracted with hexane. But Kraft takes the deception further by adding sugar to their mayonnaise. Yes, sugar. In mayonnaise. This isn't a natural ingredient found in traditional mayo recipes. It's added to mask the flat, lifeless taste that results from using over-processed oils. Instead of rich, creamy flavor, you're getting artificial sweetness that your taste buds mistake for quality. That added sugar might seem harmless, but it adds up quickly, especially if you're using mayo liberally throughout the day. And sugar does more than add calories. It contributes to insulin resistance, weight gain, and metabolic dysfunction when consumed regularly in these hidden sources. Then there are the preservatives. Kraft includes both potassium sorbate and calcium disodium, EDTA, to ensure their mayo can sit on store shelves for months, even years, without spoiling. These additives are technically approved by regulatory agencies, but that doesn't mean they're harmless. They're there to serve the company's distribution needs, not your health needs. Recent years have seen growing consumer backlash as people started noticing changes in Kraft mayonnaise. The consistency became thinner and oilier. The flavor became less satisfying. These weren't accidents, they were the result of corporate cost-cutting measures that sacrificed quality for profit margins. Nutritionally, Kraft Real Mayonnaise is a calorie trap with almost no redeeming nutritional value. 2 tablespoons pack nearly 100 calories and 10 grams of fat, almost entirely from unhealthy processed oils. If you're making sandwiches for your family daily, that's a silent accumulation of poor quality calories that contributes to weight gain and metabolic problems. Number 3, Duke's Mayonnaise. Southern tradition turned industrial nightmare. In the South, Duke's isn't just mayonnaise, it's a cultural institution. Southerners will defend Duke's with the same passion they defend sweet tea in college football. The brand has built a cult-like following based on its tangy flavor, rich texture, and famously sugar-free formula. It's in every church potluck, every deviled egg recipe, every chicken salad sandwich from Virginia to Texas. But loyalty and tradition have blinded consumers to what's actually in the jar. Duke's proudly advertises that it contains no added sugar, which sounds like a win. And compared to brands that sneak sweeteners into their formulas, it is. But that's where the good news ends. Because Duke's is still built on the same foundation of cheap, inflammatory soybean oil that plagues every other major brand on this list. That soybean oil, remember, is extracted using hexane and packed with omega-6 fatty acids that throw your body's inflammatory balance completely out of control. Every Southern grandmother spreading Duke's on white bread for her grandkids is unknowingly feeding them inflammatory compounds linked to heart disease, diabetes, and autoimmune disorders. And then there's the preservative problem. Duke's includes calcium disodium EDTA, the same synthetic chelating agent found in Hellmann's and Kraft. This chemical extends shelf life and prevents discoloration, but it's the same compound used in cleaning products and industrial applications. The FDA says it's safe in small doses, but continuous consumption can interfere with your body's ability to absorb essential minerals. In 2020, Duke's went through a major transition when its parent company was sold and rebranded. Longtime fans immediately noticed something had changed. The flavor wasn't quite the same. The texture felt different. These observations reflect the reality of large-scale food production, where consistency and cost efficiency always win over quality and authenticity. Duke's trades heavily on its Southern heritage and small-town charm, but the reality is that it's produced using the same industrial methods as every other national brand. The romanticized image is nothing more than marketing smoke and mirrors. Number 4, Miracle Whip. Not mayonnaise, not healthy, just chemicals. Let's be completely honest. Miracle Whip has always been controversial. Some people swear by its tangy, sweet flavor. Others claim it tastes like a science experiment gone horribly wrong. But regardless of where you stand on the taste debate, one thing is absolutely certain. Miracle Whip is not real mayonnaise. And it never has been. Created during the Great Depression as a cheaper alternative to real mayo, Miracle Whip was designed to stretch ingredients and maximize profits during hard economic times. That mission hasn't changed. But what makes Miracle Whip particularly dangerous is that it's legally not allowed to call itself mayonnaise. According to FDA regulations, mayonnaise must contain at least 65% vegetable oil. Miracle Whip falls far short. So what is it made of instead? Then there are the natural flavorings. This innocuous-sounding term is actually an umbrella label that can hide dozens of lab-derived compounds designed to mimic real food flavors. The FDA doesn't require companies to disclose what these natural flavors actually are, meaning you could be consuming additives without any transparency. Food analysts have pointed out that Miracle Whip's flavor profile is nearly identical to lab-formulated emulsifiers and artificial acids designed to replicate the tang of vinegar and the creaminess of oil without actually using much of either. In other words, you're not eating food. You're eating a chemical approximation of food. In 2015, viral posts accused Kraft of quietly tweaking the recipe, removing eggs entirely and adding even more corn syrup. While the company denied major changes, countless longtime consumers reported that the flavor had become sweeter and more artificial, confirming suspicions that corporate cost-cutting was prioritizing profit over product integrity. Nutritionally, Miracle Whip might seem lighter than full-fat mayo at around 40 calories per tablespoon. But that reduction in calories comes at a steep price. You're trading healthy fats for processed sugars and chemical thickeners that offer zero nutritional value and actively harm your metabolic health. Number 5. Sir Kensington's. Premium packaging, processed problems. At first glance, Sir Kensington's looks like the perfect solution to all the problems we've been discussing. The glass jar gives it an upscale, artisanal feel. The minimalist label features buzzwords like non-GMO and made with free-range eggs. It's the kind of mayo you'd find at a trendy organic cafe on $20 avocado toast. Everything about the branding screams premium, healthy, and trustworthy. But strip away the marketing aesthetics, and Sir Kensington's reveals itself to be just another overpriced, over-processed product hiding behind health-conscious branding. The main oil used in Sir Kensington's is sunflower oil, which sounds like an upgrade from soybean or canola oil. In some ways, it is. But the type of sunflower oil used in most commercial products is extraordinarily high in omega-6 fatty acids. When consumed excessively, these omega-6 fats trigger the same inflammatory cascade as soybean oil, contributing to poor heart health, hormonal imbalances, and chronic disease. What's worse, sunflower oil used in food production is typically refined and deodorized, stripping it of natural nutrients and introducing oxidation that creates harmful compounds. So while it might look cleaner on the label, it's still delivering inflammatory omega-6 fats and oxidized oils into your body. Then there's the added sugar. For a product marketing itself as natural and artisanal, you'd expect minimal sweetness. But every tablespoon of Sir Kensington's contains a surprising amount of sugar. This isn't an accident. The sugar is there to balance the vinegar tang and make the flavor more appealing and addictive. That sneaky sweetness adds up quickly if you're using mayo generously, contributing to daily sugar intake in ways most people never realize. The vinegar and lemon juice concentrate used in Sir Kensington's also raise questions. These concentrates are cheaper and more shelf-stable than fresh ingredients, but they lack the nutrients and bright acidity of natural citrus or vinegar. You're paying premium prices for convenience and shelf life, not genuine freshness. Sir Kensington's also makes a big deal about using cage-free eggs, which sounds commendable. But cage-free doesn't mean pasture-raised or fed organic diets. It simply means the chickens weren't confined to battery cages. It's a marginal improvement over factory farming, but still far from the gold standard that the premium pricing would have you believe. Another subtle deception is the term natural flavors on the label. This sounds harmless, but it's actually an umbrella term for lab-derived compounds that mimic real food flavors. The FDA doesn't require disclosure of what these components are, meaning you could be consuming additives that never appear transparently on the label. Finally, let's address the texture and stability. Sir Kensington's is thick, smooth, and remarkably long-lasting. That doesn't happen naturally. Even though it doesn't list synthetic stabilizers, it relies on precise industrial processing techniques that achieve the same result. In the end, Sir Kensington's is a masterclass in health washing. It looks clean, feels premium, and reads like a healthy choice. But underneath the beautiful packaging and carefully chosen buzzwords, it's still a refined oil-based sugary condiment using industrial production methods to justify premium prices. You're paying extra for the illusion of health, not actual nutritional quality. The bigger picture, why this matters. These 5 brands represent a much larger problem in the modern food industry. Corporations have discovered that it's far more profitable to manufacture cheap products using industrial oils, synthetic preservatives, and chemical additives than wrap them in nostalgic branding and health-conscious marketing. They're counting on consumer trust, brand loyalty, and nutritional ignorance to keep selling products that actively undermine public health. The inflammatory oils, hidden sugars, and synthetic preservatives in these mayonnaise brands aren't just isolated concerns. They're contributing to the chronic disease epidemic affecting millions of people. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity, autoimmune disorders, cognitive decline. All of these conditions are connected to chronic inflammation and poor dietary choices. And condiments like mayonnaise, which people use daily without a second thought, are silent contributors to this health crisis. The solution isn't to give up mayonnaise entirely. It's to demand better products, support brands that prioritize real ingredients over profit margins, and make informed choices about what you're putting in your body. Read labels carefully. Question marketing claims. And remember that just because a product has been on store shelves for generations doesn't mean it's safe or healthy. Your health is too important to gamble on cheap oils and chemical preservatives disguised as tradition and quality.